Hello and welcome to Bible History You Never Saw It Coming. I'm Anne Lafferty and I'll be reading from my book, Let All Who Read This Book Be Warned, that the only thing new in the world is a history you don't know. Lot, Abraham's nephew, got himself into trouble almost as soon as he selfishly chose the well-watered plain of the Jordan River for his herds. As mentioned, this area was well known for occultic activity, for unfriendly angelic manifestations, and the gigantic offspring of the hybrid genetics fostered by fallen angels. The fifth test of faith occurred when Abraham had to rescue his nephew from 4 kings fighting in rebellion against King Chedorlaomer's oppressive subjugation. They put up with him for 12 years, but in the 13th they rebelled. Of interest, it is said in the Bible that number 13 is a symbol of all governments that a man has created and that Satan has inspired. I like Sodom. Number 13 is construed as rebellion against eternal life by the Almighty. The incredible battles listed in Genesis 14, 7-9 detail a world war at the very beginning of time, and Lot was captured right in the middle of it. His family and all his possessions were stolen and dragged away as the kings of Sodom raced across the tar pits there, falling into them in their haste to escape. This was not without reason. Anyone caught in that conflict would be hacked to pieces by the sword. A terrible death. Fortunately, Lot's uncle Abram was able to rescue him and his family from the terrifying conflict. And I might mention here that in those days, family was the first kingdom and the first group you counted upon in trouble. They were your rescuers, not the government. Yahweh also renewed after that his promises to Abram concerning Canaan, that all the land would be possessed by his descendants. We might add that the land was lovely and well watered at that time. Today there's evidence of valuable minerals beneath the soil. Abram was allied with an Amorite king then, and he was warned that the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet full, meaning they were not to be driven out without God's timetable. Anyway, it's doubtful that Abram would have the will or manpower to fight for the whole of Canaan on his own. What did the Amorites do wrong anyway? Surely they didn't deserve to be vomited out of the land, did they? Many had protested the future scourge of the Israelite armies when they entered Canaan. Is God unjust? He didn't treat the builders of the tower that way, did he? In examining this extermination, again we need to hark back to Ham. Then we need to examine the curse of Canaan. Why was Canaan cursed? Genesis 6:4 says there were giants in the earth in those days. And also, after that, when the sons of God came into the daughters of men. Within the Amorites were the giants, the Nephilim, descendants of angels who warred in heaven, descended to earth and corrupted it once again. Well, now, another test of faith was quite interesting. Abraham had no children. This was considered a liability, a great liability for an aged man, as a cult of carrying and feeding of the dead with libations, kispum, was extremely important in Canaanite civilizations. The oldest son was charged with this ritual, which was performed monthly. Poured libations were considered a crucial need and a remembrance of those who had died. It also kept the dead quiet, as they were thought to become angry with neglect. Fear of spirits and the dead was rampant in that society, which makes sense because spiritual interference had already caused much damage to the world. God promised Abram a son in his very old age at practically 100. This was not so old in those days in pre-flood areas, and pre-flood was not so long ago for Abraham. People lived to vast ages and had sons over 100 years back then. Abraham was visited by 3 angels to confirm this as he camped by the oaks of Mamre. This was a neighborly kind of visit, and as Middle Eastern hospitality demands, Abraham had them in for dinner, and Sarah quickly got up a meal. Nevertheless, the son promise was a stretch for the present, and both Abraham and his new name, meaning father of nations, and Sarah, meaning princess, laughed about it. Meanwhile, children born out of time are nothing new to ancient writings, born of holy and unholy unions. We may recall the conundrum about Noah's origins. Despite a promise by the angel of the Lord, neither of the elderly couple really believed it, especially not Sarah. She, as many of us, liked action, not words. She decided to up the ante and give Abraham her Egyptian servant, Hagar. The statement that the servant girl is Egyptian will be of interest in later dealings with this family. Anyway, Sarah decided she might build a family through Hagar. Abraham promptly went into her, a polite euphemism for having sex, and she conceived. When Hagar conceived, she flaunted her proud condition before the barren Sarah. This is the kind of high-handed behavior we've grown to expect from those who have small status and are suddenly elevated through circumstances beyond their efforts. It somewhat reminds us of the Bill Clinton-Monica Lewinsky affair. According to easily obtained sources, Ms. Lewinsky stated, quote, he, paid a lot of attention to me. The President of the United States is a powerful man, giving attention to a very young girl of little status. How else would she feel but gratified? The Talmud proposes that Hagar was deeply in love with Abraham, also a powerful man, and flaunted that too. Sarah then became jealous, understandable for the suspected love affair, and the fact that a woman's entire status was built upon childbearing. And she drove the pregnant Hagar from the camp while blaming her husband for the entire debacle. He should have just said no. And the blaming suggested that there was more to Abraham's relationship with Hagar than just business. Hagar had no legal rights, so her crown of select motherhood immediately fell off. We'll hear more about Hagar and also about Lot on Thursday. But in the meantime, remember, never lose your ambition to think.